Once upon a time, in a distant village, there lived an elderly man named Tar. Though he was not wealthy, he had a beautiful and loving family. Tar was a diligent farmer, but he did not own any land of his own. Instead, he worked on other people's farms, ensuring that his wife and children were always well cared for, despite their modest means. Tar's wife was a lovely woman who earned a living as a trader in the village market, selling fresh fruits and vegetables. Every morning she prepared her goods with a smile and set off to the market, determined to support her family. Together, they had 3 children, 2 sons and a charming daughter. Though they did not have much wealth, their home was filled with warmth, laughter, and love. Each evening, after a long day of labor, Tar would return home exhausted but content. His wife would welcome him with a warm meal, and their children would run to embrace him. They spent their evenings together, sharing stories, laughing, and cherishing each other's company. Tar's simple life was enriched by the love of his family, proving that true wealth is measured in joy rather than material possessions. Despite his humble status, Tar had many friends in the village, most of whom were far wealthier than he was. Over time, however, these friendships began to fade, as his wealthier acquaintances distanced themselves from him. They did not wish to associate with someone of lower economic status. Though this saddened Tar, he often reminded himself, "My family is my greatest treasure." One day, a grand gathering was held in the village. Hoping to reconnect with his old friends, Tar decided to attend. Upon his arrival, he found them laughing, eating, and enjoying themselves. At first, they seemed happy to see him and invited him to join them. Tar sat down and shared a meal with them, relieved to feel a sense of belonging again. However, once the meal was finished, an unexpected incident left him deeply hurt. One of his friends stood up and said, "Tar, since you are not as wealthy as we are, you should clear the plates." Shocked, Tar responded, "We are all friends, and I am older than most of you. Wealth should not determine how we treat one another." Yet, his friends merely laughed and taunted him, saying, "If you refuse, we will tell the host you haven't paid for your meal, which would be even more humiliating." Feeling cornered, Tar had no choice but to comply. He silently cleared the plates and left the gathering with a heavy heart. As he walked home, he reflected on how unjustly he had been treated. Upon reaching home, his wife immediately sensed his sadness and asked what had happened. With a sigh, he replied, "My friends looked down on me today because I am not as wealthy as they are. But in the end, it does not matter. My duty is to you and our children." Determined to provide for his family, Tar continued working diligently, despite the way his so-called friends treated him. He understood that his family depended on him, and he resolved never to let them down. Though he carried the pain of unfair treatment, his love for his family gave him strength to persevere. Tar was well known in the village for his dedication to hard work. He toiled tirelessly on different farms, but never had land of his own. Under the scorching sun, he planted and harvested crops, often facing delays in payment. Many times, farm owners would tell him to return the next day, only to postpone payment again. His wealthier acquaintances frequently exploited his situation, assigning him demeaning tasks such as washing their clothes or cleaning their houses. Once, Tar asked a friend for financial help to buy food for his family. Instead of offering genuine assistance, the friend sneered and said, "If you need money, you must clean my house and wash my clothes." Humiliated but desperate, Tar agreed. He spent the entire day working, only to receive a meager sum, far less than he deserved. Nevertheless, he accepted it without protest. On another occasion, he worked from sunrise to sunset on a friend's farm, expecting fair compensation. However, when the time came for payment, his friend simply said, "I don't have the money right now. Come back next week." Frustrated but without alternatives, Tar had to accept the unfair treatment and continue working for the survival of his family. Despite these challenges, Tar never gave up. Each morning he rose early and went to work, no matter how exhausted he felt. He remained determined to ensure his family always had enough to eat and a roof over their heads. As the harvest season approached, Tar saw an opportunity to earn a better income. He decided to approach Chief Azuka, the wealthiest man in the village, who owned the largest farm. Tar hoped that working for the chief would allow him to provide a more stable future for his family. Early one morning, he made his way to Chief Azuka's house and greeted him respectfully. "Good morning, Chief Azuka. I would like to help with the harvest on your farm. I have my 2 sons who can help too," Tar said. Chief Azuka looked at Tar and said, "Very well, Tar. My farm is large, and I need all the help I can get. You can start tomorrow." The next day, Tar and his 2 sons woke up before the sun rose. They made their way to Chief Azuka's farm and began working tirelessly. They labored under the hot sun, picking crops and placing them in large sacks. Even through heavy rain, they remained determined to finish the harvest on time. Tar's sons were strong and hardworking, just like their father. Together, they made a great team. Day after day, they toiled on Chief Azuka's farm. Their hands became rough, and their backs ached, but they never complained. They knew their hard work would bring food and happiness to their family. Finally, after many days of labor, the harvest was complete. The crops were neatly packed in sacks and stored in the barn. Tar felt a sense of accomplishment and relief. He wiped the sweat from his brow and said to his sons, "We did it. Now let's go and get our payment from Chief Azuka." Tar went to Chief Azuka and said, "Chief, we have finished the harvest. Can we please have our payment?" Chief Azuka nodded and handed Tar some money. "Here is 1/3 of what I owe you. Come back tomorrow for the rest," Chief Azuka said. Tar was surprised. Chief Azuka had never asked him to return for the rest of the payment before, but he took the money and thanked the chief. When he returned home, he gave some money to his wife and said, "Cook a delicious meal for the children tonight. They deserve it." That night, Tar's wife noticed he was unable to sleep. She turned to him and asked, "Tar, why are you so moody? Did something happen at Chief Azuka's farm?" Tar sighed and replied, "Chief Azuka did not pay me fully. He told me to come back tomorrow for the rest. I am worried because he has never done this before." His wife hugged him and said, "Don't worry, Tar. You have worked hard and everything will be fine. Let's enjoy our meal with the children tonight." Tar nodded and tried to put his worries aside. He knew he had to go back to Chief Azuka the next day to get the rest of his payment. Despite his concerns, he remained hopeful and focused on his family, his greatest source of strength and happiness. The following day, Tar returned to Chief Azuka's house to collect the remaining payment. As he approached the chief's grand house, he felt a mix of hope and worry. He needed the money but was wary of the chief's unexpected request to return. Chief Azuka greeted Tar with a warm smile. "Ah, Tar. Welcome back. Come sit with me. Let us share some food and drink," Chief Azuka said, gesturing toward a table laden with delicious food. Tar hesitated, but sat down as the chief's maid served him. The hospitality felt unusual, and he couldn't shake the feeling that something was amiss. However, he decided to listen and see what Chief Azuka had to say. After they had eaten, Chief Azuka leaned back in his chair and said, "Tar, you have worked hard all your life. You deserve more than just a few coins for your labor. I have an opportunity for you to become rich without all this hard work. You just have to see my old friend at the edge of the forest." Tar was taken aback. "Chief Azuka, what do you mean? How can I become rich without working hard?" The chief smiled and replied, "There is a way, Tar. A way that requires a small ritual but no bloodshed. You are getting older, and soon you won't be able to provide for your family through physical labor. Think about it." Tar's heart raced. The idea of becoming rich without hard work was tempting, but he was also cautious. "I don't know, Chief Azuka. This sounds risky. What kind of ritual is this?" Chief Azuka reached into his robe and pulled out a large bundle of money. He handed it to Tar and said, "Here, take this. It is 10 times the amount I owe you. Think of it as a gift, a small taste of what you could have. Take your time to decide. There is no rush." Tar's eyes widened at the sight of so much money. He had never seen such a large sum in his life. He took the bundle with trembling hands and thanked the chief. "Thank you, Chief Azuka. I will think about your offer and let you know my decision." As Tar walked home, his mind was filled with conflicting thoughts. The money in his hand felt heavy, and the offer weighed even heavier on his heart. When he arrived home, his wife saw the bundle of money, and her eyes widened in surprise. "Tar, where did you get all this money?" she asked. Tar sighed and explained everything that had happened. "Chief Azuka gave me this money and made an offer for easy riches. He said it involves a ritual but no bloodshed. I don't know what to do. It's so much money and it could change our lives." His wife listened carefully, her face full of concern. "Tar, this offer sounds too good to be true. We have always lived honestly and worked hard for what we have. Be very careful. Easy riches can bring great trouble." Tar nodded, knowing she was right. "I will think about it carefully. We must not rush into anything that could harm our family." That night, Tar lay awake, staring at the ceiling. The money was hidden safely, but his thoughts were far from peaceful. He knew he had to make a decision soon, but he wanted to ensure it was the right one for his family. The promise of easy riches was tempting, but the unknown risks kept him cautious. After days of wrestling with the decision, Tar finally made up his mind. He would go to the forest's edge and meet the old man for the ritual. He told his wife, "I have made my decision. I will go tomorrow." His wife looked at him with worried eyes but nodded. "Tar, please be careful. Our family's happiness means more than wealth. Promise me you will come back safe." Tar hugged her tightly and promised, "I will come back safe. This is for our future." The next day, Tar made his way to the forest's edge where the old man lived. The forest was dark and thick with trees that seemed to whisper secrets. His heart pounded as he approached the old man's hut. The old man, with a long white beard and wise eyes, greeted him. Tar. Chief Azuka told me you would come. Are you ready for the ritual?" the old man asked. Tar nodded, his voice trembling slightly. "Yes, I am ready." The old man led Tar to a clearing in the forest. In the center was a circle made of stones, with strange symbols drawn inside. He began to chant in a low, rhythmic voice, filling the air with an eerie feeling. Tar stood in the circle, feeling a mix of fear and anticipation. The old man approached him with a small bowl of dark oil. "This ritual will grant you wealth without shedding blood. Rub this oil on your body and the gods will bless you." Tar hesitated but followed the instructions. As he applied the oil, a strange warmth spread through his body. The old man placed his hands on Tar's head and said, "You have been chosen. The gods will grant you riches. But remember, there is always a price to pay." With those words, the ritual was complete. The old man handed Tar a small pouch filled with gold coins. "This is just the beginning. More will come to you. Go now, and take care of your family." Tar left the forest, his heart filled with excitement and apprehension. His journey into the unknown had just begun. As T's prosperity grew, the village buzzed with stories of his transformation. Little did they know, the true test of his choices and the price of his wealth were yet to come. As T's wealth increased, his old friends who had once abandoned him due to his poverty began to return. Drawn by his newfound riches, they visited his house daily, showering him with praise and asking how he had amassed such wealth so quickly. One afternoon, as T sat in his grand living room, a group of his old friends arrived. They brought gifts, and spoke with exaggerated enthusiasm about how proud they were of his success. "T, old friend," one of them said, "we are so happy for you. You have achieved so much in such a short time. Please, tell us your secret. How did you become so rich?" T smiled politely but felt uneasy. He knew that revealing the true source of his wealth would bring trouble. "I have been blessed by the gods," he replied. "They saw my hard work and decided to reward me." His friends exchanged glances, not entirely convinced. One of them leaned closer. "Come now, T. We are your friends. You can trust us. There must be more to it than just divine blessings." T maintained his calm demeanor. "It is the truth. The gods have been kind to me. I cannot explain it any other way." His friends persisted, visiting him regularly and trying different ways to coax the secret out of him. They flattered him, brought lavish gifts, and even offered to share their own wealth in exchange for his knowledge. "T, think of how much more we could achieve together," another friend suggested. "If you share your secret, we can all be wealthy and powerful." But T remained firm. He knew that the secret of his wealth was tied to a dark ritual, and he did not want to drag anyone else into the dangerous pact he had made. "I appreciate your offers, my friends, but I must decline. I cannot share what is not mine to give." As time went on, his friends grew frustrated with his reluctance and began to distance themselves once more. Some even whispered behind his back, spreading rumors and speculation about the true nature of his wealth. He felt the strain of their suspicion and the weight of the secret he carried. Despite his luxurious life, he longed for the simple, honest days before the riches came. He missed the genuine companionship he once had, even if it was tainted by poverty. One evening, as he sat with his wife, she gently asked, "T, what is bothering you? I see the worry in your eyes." T sighed deeply. "Our friends. They keep asking about our wealth. They do not believe it is just the gods' blessings. I cannot tell them the truth, but their questions never stop." His wife squeezed his hand. "We must stay strong, T. We have each other, and that is what matters most. Let them talk. As long as we know the truth, we can face anything." T nodded, grateful for her support. He knew that the journey ahead would not be easy, but he was determined to protect his family and the secret of their wealth. One quiet evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, a messenger arrived at T's house. The old man from the forest had summoned him. The message was brief and ominous, sending a shiver down T's spine. He knew that the old man's summons could only mean one thing: a demand. The next morning, T made his way to the edge of the forest where the old man lived. His heart pounded with each step, dread gnawing at his insides. When he reached the old man's hut, he found him waiting, his expression grave. "T," the old man said, his voice as ancient as the trees around them. "The time has come for you to fulfill your part of the bargain. The gods demand a sacrifice." His heart sank. "What kind of sacrifice?" he asked, his voice trembling. The old man looked at T with piercing eyes. "You must sacrifice your only daughter, Amina, to the gods. It is the price for the wealth you have received." T staggered back, his mind reeling with horror. "No, not Amina. She is my only daughter. I cannot do this." The old man's face remained impassive. "If you do not fulfill the gods' demand, you will lose everything: your wealth, your sanity, and your life. The gods will take back their blessings, and you will be left with nothing." T felt as though the ground had shifted beneath him. The thought of losing Amina was unbearable. She was the light of his life, kind and gentle, loved by everyone in the village. He could not fathom the idea of sacrificing her. Please, there must be another way, T pleaded, his voice breaking. I cannot harm my daughter. The old man shook his head. There is no other way. You have 7 days to make your decision. If you do not sacrifice Amina, the gods will take her themselves and you will suffer the consequences. T returned home, his mind a whirlwind of fear and despair. He couldn't share this burden with his wife. The thought of telling her was too much to bear. For nights, he couldn't sleep. The old man's demand haunted him. Sacrifice Amina. How could I even think of it? He whispered to himself. Yet the threat was clear. Refuse. And he would lose everything. On the 5th night, his heart heavy with dread, T finally decided. The fear and the old man's warning left him feeling like he had no choice. Hoping this terrible act would protect the rest of his family, he prepared the ritual, his soul in turmoil. As Amina played in the yard, he called to her softly. Amina, come here. She ran to him, smiling. Yes, father. T swallowed hard, forcing a smile. Drink this, my dear, and use this oil. It's very important. Trusting her father, Amina took the drink and applied the oil. As the potion took effect, she fell unconscious. T carried her to the forest, each step feeling like a weight on his soul. He reached the clearing where the ritual was to take place, and laid Amina gently on the ground, his hands shaking as he prepared to complete the ritual. I'm so sorry, Amina, he whispered, tears streaming down his face. Just as he was about to proceed, a piercing scream shattered the silence. T, no. It was his wife, her voice filled with desperation. She had followed him, suspecting something. Was terribly wrong. Villagers, awakened by her screams, rushed into the forest, torches lighting up the darkness. They found T kneeling over Amina and quickly restrained him. His wife ran to their daughter, cradling her in her arms. What have you done, T? She cried, her voice trembling with shock and grief. The villagers carried Amina to the herbalist, hoping to undo whatever had been done. T was left behind, his heart shattered by the enormity of his actions and the realization of what he had almost done. As dawn broke, the villagers gathered outside T's home, their faces filled with anger and sorrow. Must face justice, one of the elders declared. We must take him to the king. Bound and surrounded, T was led to the palace, his head hung low, the weight of his guilt pressing heavily on his shoulders. He must answer for his actions. But when the guards searched for Chief Azuka, they found that he had already fled the village, leaving behind only the chaos and destruction he had orchestrated. Tar, you have committed a grave sin, the king said. But since you did not take the life of your own daughter, thanks to your wife, I see the manipulation and fear that drove you. Your punishment will be severe, but your life will be spared. You will spend the rest of your days in prison, where your wife and children may visit you. You will work to atone for your actions. T bowed his head, accepting his fate. Thank you, my king, he whispered, tears streaming down his face. The villagers dispersed, their hearts heavy with the weight of what had transpired. His wife returned to the herbalist's hut, where Amina was slowly recovering. She knew their family would never be the same, but she held on to hope that they could find a way to heal. As T was led away to his prison cell, he felt a deep sense of regret. He had lost everything he had ever worked for, all for the promise of easy riches. The love and happiness of his family, once his greatest treasure, had been shattered by his own choices. In his cell, T vowed to spend the rest of his life atoning for his sins, hoping that one day his family might find it in their hearts to forgive him. As he lay in his cell, the sounds of the village echoing faintly in the distance, he found a measure of solace. He had paid a high price for his wrong choices, but he hoped that his story would serve as a lesson to others. The love of family and the integrity of one's character were treasures far greater than any amount of gold. Its tale spread throughout the village, a reminder of the dangers of greed and the true meaning of wealth. Though he spent his remaining days in captivity, T's heart found some peace in knowing that his family had forgiven him and moved on to live good, honest lives. If you enjoyed the story, please like the video, comment on what you learned from the tale, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more enchanting stories just like this one. Thank you.